Hey there, guys. I'm gonna work on some more leather stuff. I don't know how this, what videos I'm gonna put out first, but I just got done making a tool holder for my buddy Jake. He's a glass worker. And I was thinking about, I had another buddy, a coworker of mine, who gave me a nice bottle of bourbon for Christmas. And I'd been thinking about doing something for him. I wasn't sure, and now I've decided I'm gonna make him an ammo holster, an ammo carrier. So this is one I had made a couple years ago. I want to try to make something like that, pretty much the same design. And either I might do a belt loop like this with these copper rivets, or this is my Leatherman holster. I made this, I don't know, a few years ago. And this one has a little metal belt loop. So anyway, let me see what I can come up with. I'm gonna mold this over use wet leather to mold it over a form. So. Okay, so the first step for this process of wet molding leather to make our pouch is making a form. I've already made this form in the past. As you can see, I've done some ammo carriers for a couple friends in the past, but I've just used some standard MDF molding. I sanded around here just to give it kind of a nice little thing. So basically what I'm going to do is work the leather around here and then form it with some template pieces, or just some pieces just to hold it down. I'll clamp these in place, and basically we'll just let it sit overnight until it dries enough to take the form off. But what I'm aiming to do is, from a normal ammo box that has a plastic ammo carrier, these are just little cheap plastic things, I've cut one side enough for 5 rounds. That's the legal amount you can carry in a magazine or a gun, so I figure 5 rounds is a good amount. Anyway, so I just place it right here, and I figure out where I want the reveal to be. So I've just kind of tacked a little bit of line there for the leather to come up about right there and then over. So that's just to give me an idea. So what I'm going to do right now is grab my leather that's been soaking, because obviously that's kind of an important process. And as you can see, it's the consistency of wet leather, believe it or not. So anyway, what I'm going to do here is just hand mold this a little bit. And I'm going to use just this little tool. You can use the end of a hammer. Anything that's a wooden or plastic and smooth, you can use for this. But basically, I'm just going to work this. And then once it's worked, I'm going to put my form pieces on here. So I'll show you the next step once I get these all clamped in place, and then we'll see how it looks overnight when I take the form off. So it's been about 20 hours. As you'll see, it's still in the mold. I just kind of took those off, but you see the leather, when you wet form it, it gets stretched, and you'll see that kind of curve there. That's fine. I'm going to end up trimming that with an X-Acto knife. Let me just take these off, and you'll see there's probably still a little bit of moist spots right underneath the wood. That's pretty much it. It's some of this darker area is going to come out and just kind of blend in once we get the stain on here and some of the oils and stuff. So let me get this trimmed up, and then we'll trim up the back piece and glue them together so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. Right here, I'm just kind of trying to flare it up on the sides. Gives a little extra strength and kind of more of a pocket look. So you'll see it'll be a straight line, and then it's going to flare up on the sides. Okay, so I've got this kind of trimmed the way I want. I'm going to set it on another piece of leather so that it can be this back flap that ends up folding over like that. So we'll get it right there. I've already kind of traced out the lines, and then what I'm going to do right here is just make sure it tapers just a little bit coming up top, so that when it folds over, it's not looking like such a huge chunky piece of leather. So let me get this cut out and we'll get it glued together. Okay, so this step, this is just the back panel, and before we attach it to the front of the shell carrier, we need to attach a belt loop, and I got to do it now so that I've got access to both sides before I stitch this. So I'm just using copper rivets. This is an old, just a scrap piece of leather when we were cutting out our other stuff, and it's just going to attach there, fold over, and then I attach two more there with copper rivets. So we've got this belt loop attached now. As you can see, just I guess like a Levi's jeans style copper rivet. So basically I'm just going to rubber cement this on. The rubber cement is not going to be what's actually truly holding it for the long term. It's going to be the stitching. But what the rubber cement's going to do is help me, or basically help hold this thing together so I can kind of finish it, get the holes stitched, you know, do all that good stuff. So it's just going to be kind of a temporary bond. Okay, what I'm going to do here is use this little tool to set my my number of stitches per inch. So I'm just going to go on my edge groove line, just like this, and just run it back and forth. And you're going to see it's going to make some marks. Alright, well now comes the scary part, because anytime you dye leather, depending on what part of the cow or whatever animal you have, leather will accept dye in different ways. Some people will say you gotta wet the leather before you put the dye on. Some people say do it dry. You know what, I just kind of work with what I have. This is actually some old mixed up light brown and saddle tan leather dye I have, so that's what I have left over, so that's what I'm going to use for this. I think it'll turn out fine, and if there's some splotches, not a big deal. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. I think so. And then we'll just do some small taps to flare that out. I like to kind of go in a little circle. And I don't know if you can see that, but that's perfectly flared out. And it's actually almost flush in there. So basically that'll go in there, and snap just like that. Okay, so I thought the snaps were about the last thing, but I just remembered I want to put my my buddy's initials in there just on the flap. As you'll see, that's a little darker. Basically with leather, to stamp or cut or do anything, any designs, you need to have it kind of moist. So I just moistened it up, and I need to do it now because I plan on putting some neat's foot oil and some other leather protectants in here, and it won't take the snaps or the stamps quite as nicely. So sucky thing with this, or the tricky thing with this, is making sure that you have the letters in the exact right order. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of set it there and kind of make sure I'm getting a little bit of an impression, and just pick it up and check, and I can see there that that looks good. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit this a couple times. Okay, and you can really set this reveal in there a little bit more if you just feel there and wait till that falls back in there. So I'm going to change the other one and do the next letter, and you'll be able to see it better once it dries. This is the last stage, and arguably the hardest, unless you're using like an awl or a machine or something like that. I'm just hand stitching it, just doing the single line double method. Basically there's two needles, and it's just a single line single thread going between them both, and you just go through the same hole, wrap it again, same hole, wrap it again. First time's not too bad, but the second time you go through the hole with the other needle, it's a little tougher, just because there's thread already in the hole. But anyway, once we get this done, I'm going to give it just a coat of some satin sheen, a little water-based protectant, and it should be done. So we'll see you in about a minute. Well, here's the finished product. There's my buddy's initials, ST, as you saw before. Got the little button on there. The snap works good. The ammo has a good reveal. The stitches came out pretty well. Not the straightest I've ever done, but I think they came out all right. I edge coated, burnished, and then edge coated the sides. I guess some true leather purists would shriek if I said that, but a lot of people will just burnish. But I like the edge coat, kind of helps seal in everything. I also did a coat of neat's foot oil along with a water-based sheen waterproofer to this leather, and I think it gave it kind of a nice little almost mottled or splotchy look, and I think that kind of adds to the rugged character of it. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Hope this was something, maybe gives you an idea of something you can do.